Welcome back to Alive Partner TV. I am Dr. Mario Torres-Leon, creator and founder of Alive Partner and the Alive Community Membership. Today, I am extremely excited because we continue something that by now has become a tradition here in the Alive Partner TV, which is the Human Power Series. Something that I like to say as a foreword to these episodes is that over more than 30 years of being a Harvard trained and Columbia, let me just say that again, Claire and Lorraine. After more than 30 years of being a Harvard, Yale, and Columbia University trained physician, one thing that I have discovered that continues to amaze me is the power of the human spirit, and therefore the name of the HPS or the Human Power Series. Today, we have a magnificent human being who happens to have been born in the island of Puerto Rico, where I happen to have the honor to have been born at as well. We share the same place of birth, which is the city of Ponce, Puerto Rico. And this had never happened before in any of my experiences of either being on TV or actually hosting on my TV show. So this is a really special one and an honor for me to host a fellow Puerto Rican, but also a person who was born in my city. I am extremely moved by this lady that we have today and her human power. Today we're hosting Leyda, and Leyda is really the embodiment of what the human potential really is when it comes to health, to the process of healing, and truly what the power of the human spirit is about. And I don't want to take her wind of her sails because I want her to speak a little bit about her journey and some of the challenges that she experienced as she approached some solutions that she felt called upon to explore that ultimately led to what truly has been in many regards what I consider miracles. If you're new to this TV series or this show, one of the things that I talk about is the fact that the way that I describe miracles are those things that our senses are experiencing that our conventional wisdom, the mind, cannot really explain. But what's really amazing in today's episode is that Leyda is not somebody without any kind of knowledge. As a matter of fact, Leyda is a doctor in chemistry, and she has been very much involved in neurochemical chemistry studies. So when it happens to be the case that we have somebody like this who has that background, it's fascinating to really highlight their life's journey because it's a true bridging of the conventional and the allopathic wisdom with what today in many ways we still consider to be non-traditional. So I want to completely offer the warmest of welcomes to Leyda to our show today. And I can't wait for her to start talking about this. So Leyda, welcome to Alive Partner TV. And thank you for your generosity and your vulnerability and your desire to share with the world about your journey. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Mario. I appreciate the opportunity. It is my pleasure.
Leyda, tell us a little bit about what was happening in your life in terms of your health. I really want to concentrate on that because I feel very inspired to share that piece as I know it will touch many, many people. You were experiencing a very successful life as a chemist. You had achieved the professional goals that you wanted to achieve and you had aspired to. And in many ways, you felt as though you had already reached the pinnacle of where you wanted to go professionally. But there were some things in your personal life that were not quite being experienced at the same level of success.
Yes. Like you mentioned, I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, professionally speaking, in terms of my chemistry career. And I felt a disconnect with my personal life because I was suffering from a lot of chronic symptoms, chronic pain since very early in age. And I also was feeling void. Like it
Mhm.
didn't matter like how much I study or how many different jobs I was like having the opportunity to do as a chemist and as a scientist, with very big and powerful missions in terms of what I was doing as a chemist. But despite all of that, I was just feeling a void and I was just feeling very fragile and broken. I think that would be the best way to describe how I was feeling.
Leyda, as you tune in into that part of your life which you're not in anymore because of your journey and your courage to explore other things, can you share with our audience what were some of the symptoms, some of the things that you were feeling in your body, and then you
Yeah.
started to go to doctors to just figure out what's going on here? You're a fairly young woman, and obviously you wanted to know what was not working for you.
Yes, I will be happy to share that. I was having many different strange symptoms, and there were some of them were more persistent than others, and
Mhm.
some of them would just come and go. And I was having vertigo. I was having tinnitus, which is like a pitch noise in
Like a
the ear.
ringing in the ear. Hmm.
And also I was having fullness in the
Mm.
ear. During those days, I would just not be able to do anything. I had to stay in the bed. And that was a constant factor in my life since I was a child. I remember missing exams, missing classes, trips, days at work. And I always have to carry medication to prevent or manage the symptoms. And I was always worried about when I was having one of those random attacks that I couldn't prevent very well. And I always was afraid of that because I didn't know what was causing those. And then sometimes at the same time, I was having pain in my spine, in my hips, and sometimes the pain was so extreme that I just couldn't walk. I remember I went to the university with a walker because I was having difficulty walking. It was very painful to walk. I There was a time that I was having swollen fingers, um, and just pain, very deep pain in different parts of my body, sometimes on one side only. Very strange, very strange. And digestive symptoms. I will have a lot of problem if I was eating food with starch, which pretty much is almost everything,
Hmm.
and a lot of digestive issues. And it was just too much pain at times, that I would just stay on bed because it was just too painful to get out of bed. And it was a lot of spasm, rigidity. At times I felt like I was a surfboard. It was so rigid that I just couldn't move. And it was taking a long time for me to become flexible again.
Mm.
Um, and in those times, I recall going to the store and then just like being on the store when that flare came up out of nowhere. And
Wow.
then I would be there in the aisle, just paralyzed, like how I would go home now. It was very painful.
Leila, I have come across things like this before in our community and also throughout the many years of being involved in medicine. Um, and sometimes the physical challenge can lead and often lead to a very, very deep emotional challenge and or challenges as well. I've had people in my life that I've cared for or had in the community where they've come and said it got to a point that I was truly considering even I wish I was dead, uh, or somehow even some people trying to kill themselves. Did you ever experience anything to the depth of that, because of the degree of how frustrated you were feeling with not understanding what was going on, but more than that, the understanding the pain that your body was experiencing?
Yes, yes, I was suffering with anxiety, depression, panic attacks. And I recall it was because once I received the diagnosis, I thought I was going to get a relief because then finally there was a name,
Mm.
names attached to the symptoms. And when I heard the doctor said, you just have to live with this, you just will just be in pain always. These are degenerative conditions. This will just get worse. You just have to learn how to live with pain and to live with this. And I remember like I for a long time, thank you. For a long time I was thinking like what is the purpose of living like this? Like this is just not the life that I want. And it was like very dark for me. Like
Mhm.
I couldn't see any hope. I was feeling broken. I was feeling fragile. I actually, now that I am having this awareness, I was doing things not consciously, or I guess that's what I'm thinking, not consciously, to prepare because I thought I was going to die soon
Wow.
in that sense. So it was a phase that it was very draining emotionally. At times the pain from how I was feeling emotionally was uh bigger than the physical pain that I was experiencing.
If you're joining us right now, this is Alive Partner TV, and I'm Dr. Mario Torres-Leon. And today we have been hosting another episode of the Human Power series here in Alive Partner TV with a very special guest who is Dr. Leyda. Leyda is a chemist by education, and we've been talking and listening to her regarding her life journey and experience with not only her personal success with her professional side of her life, but what has happened or what happened to her in her health that led to this journey. And we're just about to enter a big aha moment for her. So, Leyda, as you were telling me at some point before this interview, there's a moment as you're truly hitting the bottom of this experience, the despair, the hopelessness, helplessness, that sentiment that you were experiencing because it was really intense for you. And I want to acknowledge you for your vulnerability in sharing this because in you so doing, there's many people who are listening to this who are very likely in the same position too. And I know that as they hear what's going to happen now, it will really open the doors of hope and possibility, of real possibility, especially coming from somebody like you who is a scientist. So that doesn't make any sense in the mind of the scientist, but clearly you something was guiding you inside to something much bigger, and you really listened to it. You were curious, just like perhaps your scientific curiosity led you to trust. Let me be curious about that. There was a moment that changed everything for you. What was that moment? What was it that you heard that changed the direction, the beginning of a new life?
Yes, and before I achieved that moment, like you mentioned, I felt that I reached the button because at that time it started to have pain in my eye
Mm.
because the inflammation started to attack my eye, and the eye doctor was telling me that I could lose my sight. And I was already having a very strict restrictive diet. I was not eating starch. So at that point, I was just, I don't know what to do anymore. And I felt a surrendering in within me. I just surrender my need to analyze and my research, and finding solutions and how to fix and how to get rid of all these symptoms.
Mm,
And that's when I heard from within this clear voice, like I'm just hearing it right now, that it was telling me that I had to connect my mind with the body, mind body. That's what I heard.
mm,
And at that point, I had the decision, should I pay attention to this? Which at that time, to me, sounded crazy. Uh, because I didn't know what it was. And or I had the choice to get out of bed because that was late at night, and start just like looking to just at least know what it was. And I decided to just receive that and start just like to look for what that was that I heard. And
mm.
that this amazing journey that I'm living now.
Leyda, when you have that experience, what kind of resources you started to look into? Because there may be people listening to this who've had perhaps a similar experience, or maybe they're inspired by what was happening to you. Oh my gosh, this is me, this is me, this is me. Where did you go to look for information? What did you do?
So at that time, I was in a group on Facebook, with people with the same condition that were
Hmm.
following the diet, for support, because it's like I said, it's a very difficult diet, and I was following it for more than 2 years. So my first intuition was to go to the group and type mind body. And that's what I did. I went to the search, I typed mind body. And in that group, I found a post from many years back of a gentleman that he was sharing his story, just like I'm sharing it now. And he was saying how mind body medicine helped him explore and connect with his emotions and with his body. And when I read that, I was like, what is he talking about? I
Mm,
was just not very strange, like for me, about connecting to your body, to connecting to your feelings. I was just not understanding that. Um, and but reading his story, I could see myself in his words. I could see me in him, and I felt this hope and this joy that if this person received this healing, I was able to receive this too. And
right.
thank you. And that's how I went to the I received the information of the doctors doing this work, this type of work, which I
Gotcha.
never had before.
Can you mention some of those names of some people that came up, because some people may see this and they may want to have some resources that resonate, with them, please.
Like I mentioned, I connected first with people like me
Yep.
that through this my body medicine, and the doctors that for me were very supportive were number one, Dr. Kim Doramo, and Dr. John Isarno,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I think those are the two main doctors that I have been learning a lot from them. And also Dan Buglio, he's not a doctor, but he shared his story about how he also healed through this mind body medicine. And he has been a source of inspiration for me as well.
You have mentioned to me that definitely the work of Kim Duramo, Dr. Kim, was very impactful for you, and it created tremendous healing in your journey. Can you speak to what started to happen with the mind body medicine tools that you started to implement, and then how you end up in my community? What was that transition like?
Yeah, sure. So first I was learning it, like receiving the concept, like what it was and all these type of things and all the background, like from where this comes from, like how old this is and all that. And then I learned about Dr. Kim Doramo through her YouTube channel. And I
Mm.
started to watch her videos about
Yes.
uh, the tools that allow you to calm your nervous system, feel your emotions, connect with your body, the breath work that she shared as well. And then I started to practice those. And I started to experience things in my body that I didn't experience before. And I remember that at that point, I felt this is it. This is what I need. This is what my body wants. And I came to her program, and through her program, practicing the tools is how I started to feel a lot of shifts in my body. And I also was learning how important is gratitude,
Mm.
to have a gratitude practice, which I was already doing, but it felt superficial. Like I will go in the morning and I will say thank you for the new day, thank you for having water and these kind of things. But it felt like I was just checking a to-do list. And I I felt that gratitude was very important because uh the abundance that I have received in terms of healing is so much. And I
Mm.
want to be grateful in a very meaningful way with full intention. So my intention was to find, I remembered, I wrote this down. I want to be in a gratitude circle.
Wow.
I wrote that down and I have it in a Word document. Like I wanted that. But then I remembered that Dr. Kinda Ramos shared in on Instagram. I think it was an interview that she did with you, and you were talking about the GL28 program. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's about gratitude. So I started to check that out. Um, I was not, I didn't know that it was going to be how it was. I thought that it was more like just a gratitude circle that we just like learn how to have a more profound intention of gratitude and to deepen that practice. I thought that it was just that, but it was way much more than that.
So walk us through, you've been on a healing journey. You have experienced incredible amount of healing. You were you were pretty much back to life through some of this work that you were doing. Yet it sounds as though there were some pieces there that still needed to continue to be nurtured and nourished as part of your healing journey and healing process. And then you come into GL28, you had some expectations about what this was going to be about. And then what happened?
Then I saw that you had to share videos or not, you don't have to because you
Yes.
never gave us any like instructions that you have to do this. You invited us. But then when I saw about the invitation, I was like, oh, this is about sharing videos. And I was a little, at beginning, I was a little bit confused because I was like, oh, but what? And then when I started to see that you were like giving us prompts and you were inviting us to connect with feelings, like for example, by sharing a video, connecting with the feelings of insecurities, fears, and not
Mm.
feeling confident, that I was not even aware that I had those feelings in there. And also, you were inviting us to, um, by sharing the videos, we could connect even deeper, not only with ourselves, with our emotions, but also share with the people in the container that you created so that we can see how much we are connected and also um, receive the shares from other people as well,
Mm,
and be to allow us to be seen, because in that way we could be supported even more and to
yes.
be felt even more. And once I saw that, thank you. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, um, and you clarified this is not a challenge. These are just invitations, and it's in a way that you can, maximize the the support and everything that this program has to offer. And I decided to do that, even though it was very uncomfortable at the beginning. But then I started to notice like all the transformation and the shifts. And along with the book, because I never heard of the book, The Magic,
Mm-hmm.
I heard of The Secret
Mm-hmm.
and read The Secret and also watched the film, but I never heard of The Magic. So when I also were following that, so that was really powerful and deepened, and I look forward every day to have that time to just do
Mm.
and practice that.
You have been watching a Life Partner TV, and today we're on a special episode of the Human Power series with our beloved guest, Dr. Leyda, who is a classically trained chemist. And we've been talking about her experience pertaining to her health journey, to her healing journey. And we have been talking about what exactly happened inside of the program that she did in our community, the GL28 program, or the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. Leyda, it's very common in my experience when people come from different parts of life, walks of life, and different parts of the world. Everybody has their own experience of what a gratitude practice looks like. Something that became very present to me, evident to me in my particular journey that led to having this awareness of this work through one of my meditations in my meditation practice was this aspect of what I call the soul map, the feelings body, the emotional body. And what became really compelling for me, which I had not truthfully experienced in any other person's work, was the fact that it really has been a missing link in a lot of the mind body medicine work. And I'm not being critical of other people's work. That's been my experience as I practice it, and then as I have been hosting people from all over the world to do this kind of work. And it has really shifted healing for many. That's been the feedback that we have received, and that's my growing awareness. Could you please be generous to share with us, was this your experience and how it changed your healing experience? Because if I may say, my experience with you during the time that you were with us in those 28 days, which you were simply amazing because you were so given to the process. You really put your heart and soul, everything. You were so open and vulnerable. You were so generous with others. And others were so generous with you because you were all giving. You really were. It's obvious that's who you are. And you showed up to really play big and to live big. It was not a game for you. This was real for you. And I continue to invite people to step into that and to hold that space for that to happen in the safest possible way. But what I experienced from you, and I'm trusting my awareness in this statement, was that something really dramatic happened for you in those 28 days. And
Yeah.
after the first 14 days, it accelerated even more and more and more and more. And at that point, I'm going to say it, we were simply witnessing miracles in your life, in your health, not just because we're making it up, but because your shares were really just allowing us to see those miracles happen. And but I don't want to be the one saying it. I want to hear what was your experience, so others who are listening to this, they hear it from you and not just from me.
Yes, something that happened was that as I was already practicing tools to connect with my body, with my emotions, something that I didn't realize before this program is that I I was connecting with my emotions and my feelings through the physical pain.
Mhm.
How I was having pain, I was able to feel frustrated and angry, despair, all those feelings. But then once I was not having physical pain, I it was very hard for me to connect to feelings. Like I remember I shared in the program that they felt like birds escaping, like I was trying to feel them and I couldn't. And I participated from one of your healing
Healing
seats
seats. Yep.
in the calls within the program. And I remember that when we had that one-on-one interaction, that you mentioned that to me that to use a soul map, to also um, acknowledge everything that has happened, because I didn't realize that I was more focused on what was next and not so much on what I already received, which was massive. Thank you. And I
Yes.
was so focused on that, and I was not aware of that. So I was just like disregarding this huge thing because I wanted to get to the next thing. And also, I was not allowing myself to feel what my body wanted me to feel. So you invited me to um, be kind with myself, be gentle, and have more compassion with myself, love myself, and basically love that part of myself that was doing that, that was resisting, that was looking for the next thing, the one that was trying to fix how I was not feeling. uh, and to love that part of myself into wholeness. And that's what I started doing, because after that call, I just felt like those words, I have heard them before. And that your words were the call, the wake up call that I needed within me to see those things that I was doing or not doing. And it was very supportive. And at that point, I started to welcome myself more and to invite myself to show me the feelings. And I started to use the soul map to put in arrows or where I was feeling. And I started to become aware that I was feeling a lot behind my legs. And I realized, oh, I have felt this before, but I was just not aware that I was having those feelings behind my legs, the sensation of energy. And I started to having all these feelings without the need to have physical pain to feel those feelings, to have those emotions. Um, and at that point, I started to be able to cry, because for a long time I was like numb, because I was learning that feeling was not okay. As a highly sensitive person, how can you be so sensitive? And being a scientist and a chemist, I learned in my profession that emotions and feelings were not allowed. Just focus on the facts. And for a long time, I was making all that wrong and not wanting to cry.
Mm.
And after that call and after using the soul map more and more, I started to cry and let all those emotions be expressed and released from my body through the tears. And through this date, like the other day, we were driving and I saw a mountain with the birds flying. And I just felt this immense emotion of just seeing that I was crying. And that was not something that I was allowing myself to do before.
Oh, beautiful. How beautiful. Amazing. If you're new to this conversation, you're here in Alive Partner TV with Dr. Mario Torres-Leon in another episode of our Human Power series. And today I have been so blessed to have with me today an amazing, amazing guest, Dr. Leyda Lugo Morales, who is a classically trained chemist, speaking with us and sharing in a very, very open and vulnerable way her journey as it pertains to healing that she's experienced, going from really being at the depth of desperation and feeling as though she was at the bottom of the bottom. It really was real for her, and how her life turned into a journey of seeking, of supposed synchronicities coming into her life and things and messages coming into her life for her to have the curiosity to go in a different direction and for her to have the courage to follow that curiosity and led her into really what has become a remarkable healing journey. Eventually, after finding different practitioners that started to change her life, she came into the Alive Partner community and she was a beloved, and I really mean that, member in one of our cycles of the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. And somewhere along the way, something radical happened for her where she started to reconnect, to rediscover her feeling body. This is one of the biggest premises of the work that we do in a life partner. One of the things that has become extremely evident to me as a physician is how much we have been in a state of revering the brain, just as though we were in the age of the Enlightenment still in the 19th century, and neglecting the contributions, the massive power that the feeling body has to contribute to our process of healing and the process of staying healthy. And speaking of staying healthy, once you start to have that massive breakthrough in GL28 and you started to lean onto that and you said, maybe here's something, I'm going to trust this, and there was a moment in the journey where it was obviously that you went even harder at it. And when I mean hard, I don't mean it negatively, like you trust it even more, that the amount of energy that you put into it was truly like you were fully showing up to live. And as the person who was really leading the group and protecting the safety feeling of the group, it was very obvious to me. It was really a miracle in itself and such an honor to witness and be part of it and receive. I received so much from you in those 28 days. I really did, and I still do. What then happened as that started to accelerate for you, Leyda? Because you became, by the end of the journey, in those 28 days, you were a different human being. And I'm curious to see and hear from you what has happened and continue to happen since we finished that some weeks ago.
Yeah, so since I started invitation to experience more and feel more, I started to feel more and in a very intense way.
Yes.
And I will not lie, it was so intense that at times I felt that I was just like, it was too much. Like I will feel like it was too much, but I knew that it was part of the process and that it
Yes.
was safe for me to feel that and it was welcome and it was a total normal human experience to feel. And I remember I shared in one of the video shares how I was feeling. And at that time, it was like overwhelming the amount of feelings that I was getting. And I was gifted with a video from one of the members that she shared a video because she felt touched by what I shared, and she was also experiencing something similar. So she shared this video with me, and you also did, and other members also um, shared in my video share in their comments. And I felt this sense, this soothing, like I felt that I was held, that I was seen, that I was understood. I felt that it was in a space that I was being loved and cared for. And it helped me move through those emotions in a very natural way, in a very comforting way. And I will never forget that. Like, I am so grateful to you and to all the members that share with me. And I am also very grateful that because I was not, there was a part of me that didn't want to share that video because I was crying and I felt very vulnerable, but I did it anyway. And I am grateful that I did that too, because I know other people receive support in that way too. And after that, I feel that everything is different. I feel that it doesn't matter how difficult life can be in or what we perceive to that it is. We're always supported, and that we are always sourced, and that we have abundance in our life.
Mm,
In small things that are big things when you actually see them closely. And I feel a sense of peace and inner ease that has stayed with me. Um,
mm.
as I continue also, there are elements from this practice that I adapted, and that I have been doing every day at night, count my blessings, my magic rock, and some of the things that have stayed with me that I do. Um, and it's just something that really, really touches your heart.
That's so beautiful and powerful. Leyda, one of the things that happens to everybody who goes through this and does it in a caring way, in a meaningful way, like you did and continue to, is that they experience profound changes in their relationships. And in some cases, they don't come to heal physical illness, but they come to heal the most important relationships in their lives.
Mhm.
Can you share what has happened in some of the relationships in your life, perhaps, your husband or maybe somebody in your family? Because somebody who may be listening to this, it's like, well, I don't really have the symptoms that Leda had, that's beautiful and so on, but it's really not for me. Um, but then there may be other things in other people's lives, right? It could be disharmony in a marriage. It could be disharmony with a sibling, perhaps with parents, just human relations in general.
Mhm.
What are some of the observations that you could share of what has happened for you during this process and after GL 28?
Deeper connections,
Mm,
and a more like I don't have to explain myself. There is no need to explain myself,
wow.
or to explain why I'm doing this or how I'm doing this. And also seeing people around me and my loved ones, my husband and other family members doing this themselves too.
Mm,
And what is very powerful for me is that sometimes, because we are humans, and it's normal that at times we will default back to the whole program. And it happens to me, especially after being trained for a long time to operate in a different way. And for me, it's so magical to hear, for example, my husband, when I am in that loop that I may get, and he tell me, it's okay, this is all fine. We're always source. The universe always has our back. And just like hearing him saying these things, for me, it's like I am so grateful. And I know that this has also impacted other people, and other people have seen the shifts within me, and see me in a different way. And they get inspired, and they may do it in a different way, but they are enjoying shifts within themselves too.
I love that. And a big shift that happened for you that was catalyzed, there's a little chemical term for you there, that GL28 was definitely a catalyst for, has been the fact that it reaffirmed or confirmed for you, as I understand it, your desire to be in the healing arts and to really be in the in the healing coaching world and sharing your message, sharing your journey, because there's really millions of people that are just like you, that they can relate to this life
Yeah.
journey that you've had, and you've been able to tap very deeply through all of these tools that you were gathering prior to arriving at the Alive Partner community, and then the tools that you learn inside of this particular program from what we offer in our experiential courses. And my understanding is that something inside of you now is really alive and seeking and wanting to share that with the world. Can you speak to that? Because some people may be saying, that's me. I really have connected with my healing powers because of my healing journey. And I don't know how to, but I definitely want to get out there and do that.
Yes, before the program, I felt this call of like wanting to share the story of like how my journey, like my healing journey, with people that have been experiencing the same like me. But it was not until like I participated from the GL28 program that it became more solidified in terms of like knowing this is what I want, my desire. Because as part of the practice, we had to connect with our heart desires and dreams and feel into them in our body, and locate where we feel those emotions. And one thing is to share that with myself of my desires and with my husband, but another thing is to share it with the group and to put it out there. And once I did that, I felt this is what I want. I want to share my story with others. And my biggest fear was to be judged and to say something that was not correct or not being perfect or not being received well. And by sharing multiple times as we were advancing in the program, uh, I those fears went away. I started to feel more and more clarity. This is okay. This is safe for you to do this. Um, this is your call, and it's okay to share it with the world, and with others. And this also, as we share, is a healing for both, and is enabling that opening to receive that, the person
Mhm.
that is on the other side and the person that is sharing. And that's something that I was able to experience as I was participating from the program.
This is something that is extremely powerful that you have just shared. And for all of you who are watching this right now here in Alive Partner TV in the Human Power series, what Leda shared is really remarkable because, excuse me, she's speaking about judgment, she's speaking about fear, she's speaking about the dissolution, excuse me, of all of that, and embracing the truth of what the heart, your life purpose is calling you to be. That knows that it knows that it knows that it knows that is your truth. And when I say truth, the capital T truth as opposed to a lower T truth. And that is massive because once you embrace that, all of the fears start to fall away. But the beauty of the sincerity of the community, the non judgmental nature of the container, the love and acceptance that everybody from all over the world who was in that cycle was bringing in. As you were saying, could only just be like a really gentle and tender home, nest for those dreams, goals, desires, aspirations to blossom and to start growing, just like a little tender plant, tender shoot to start sprouting. And I think that has been one of the most beautiful things about this community and the Alive Partner community. And if you're new to this program, you're watching Alive Partner TV in one of our special episodes of the Human Power series with Dr. Leyda Lugo Morales, who has been sharing with us her very, very intimate trajectory and history when it comes to her healing journey, to the point that has been so compelling, so strong for her, and so healing that is evolving her professionally to the point of starting her career as a healer and being in the healing arts and feeling deeply connected and called with her purpose to serve humanity with coaching people who are struggling with some of these things. Leyda, do you mind sharing with us where are you with that and what's happening right now? Because I want people to know about that. And is there anything that you're doing currently that people can connect with you or reach out to you? How can they do that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I am sharing on my Instagram channel,
Okay.
and also my YouTube channel. I just create videos sharing a little bit about my story and the tools that I have been learning and practicing, and the breath work that has been the most healing for me. And I just share there with my own words and how it has been for me, and as simple as I can.
That's wonderful. And if you're watching this right now, you can actually you'll be able to see the resources and the links to Dr. Leyda here on the page. So if everything that she has been saying is resonating with you, just like she found somebody else's story be the beginning of her healing journey, her story may well be the beginning of your healing journey as you're actually watching her share it with us in such a vulnerable and sincere way. Leyda, one of the things that I like to ask my guests, and if you would indulge us with your generosity again, and I like to ask them, who is GL28 for? How would you answer that?
It will be for anyone that feels that itchiness inside, that there is something that is seeking them, that is
Mm,
something that is there waiting to be discovered. And not only just for gratitude and to deepen your practice, yes, for that too. But if you feel that there is something that you want to do, that you want to experience, something different in your life, a shift, a transformation, or even like connecting with that part of you that you don't know,
hmm.
and get to know your feelings and connect with them and feel transformation and healing. Uh, Basically, for anyone, it doesn't have to be a specific age, or you don't have to have any degree or title or previous knowledge. It is just for anyone that is open to have a different information or experience, that is okay that you don't understand it, but that you're open and curious and willing to receive this, allow it, and participate.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Leyda, in parting thoughts, we're coming to the end of the episode. Um, Anything else that you would like to share with the audience about your journey, or thoughts that you may have for the audience in terms of encouragement about what's possible?
Basically, anything and everything is possible. That's something that I have experienced myself. I am grateful to the doctors that they gave me the diagnosis, and even though they gave me their opinion on what they thought it was possible. But if you know within you that you feel that there is more possible, don't let outsource or outside sources to stop you. Just go inside and let that voice and that feeling to guide you into those possibilities because they're there and available.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You have been watching a Life Partner TV, and today we have been having an incredible conversation with a very, very special guest and beloved member of our Life Partner community. It is Dr. Leyda Lugo Morales, who's been here with us today. And it's been really an amazing, amazing journey that she shared with all of us. And as you may know if you've been watching us, and if you're not, I'll just say it again because I said it in every single episode. If this content has resonated with you, firstly, I am going to ask you to please like it and follow us here in Ally Partner TV so you can continue to benefit from the content that we put on a weekly basis. But more important than following me and my work is the following. If it really deeply resonated with you, please go ahead and share it with people that you love and care in your life because you may actually be the person who is the catalyst, the one who's bridging the gap for that person so they can go from where they're now and where they could really be and what's possible for them. You can really be the person who's bringing healing into their lives. Lastly, I want to express my deepest sense of gratitude to my amazing guest today, Dr. Leyda, for joining us here today in Life Partner TV, for your incredible generosity, your courage, your valor, for being able to be so open to share something that is so sensitive when it comes to your healing journey in such a way that has been so loving and caring for other people to see themselves in your journey, to see what's possible for them because you have willingly decided to open the door and share for the world to see. And that in itself is profoundly healing. So thank you for being here today. I am Dr. Mario Torres-Leon, and I want to say thank you to you for joining us once again here on Life Partner TV. And I can't wait to welcome you once again in another episode. Thank you so much, Leyda.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So long, everybody. See you next time.